You thought it was love. The sleepless nights, the endless waiting, the way your chest tightened every time their name appeared on your screen. You called it passion, you called it connection. But what if it wasn't love at all? What if it was just pain, dressed up as something you were supposed to want? Here's the question you need to ask yourself. Why are the relationships that hurt you the most the ones you can't let go of? If you're here right now, watching this, there's something you already know but maybe haven't said out loud yet. You felt it. That strange pull toward people who make you feel uncertain, people who keep you guessing, people who give you just enough to keep you holding on, but never enough to make you feel safe. And the strangest part, you don't walk away. Even when your friends tell you to. Even when you know, deep down, that this person isn't good for you. You stay, you wait, you hope. And you wonder why you can't just move on like everyone else seems to. Why does it feel impossible to let go of someone who barely holds on to you? Here's what nobody tells you. The reason you can't let go isn't because you love them more. It's because your brain has learned to confuse emotional pain with emotional connection. And once that confusion sets in, it becomes almost impossible to tell the difference. Because here's the thing, emotional pain and love, they feel the same in your brain. They activate the same neural pathways. They release the same chemicals, the longing you feel when someone pulls away. That's the same system that lights up when you're falling for someone. The anxiety you feel waiting for a text back, that's dopamine. The relief you feel when they finally respond, that's a reward loop. Your brain doesn't know the difference between love and suffering. It just knows intensity. And intensity feels like meaning. So let me take you back to when this all started. Because this didn't begin with the person you're thinking about right now. This began long before then. This began when you were too young to understand what was happening. When your brain was still learning what relationships are supposed to feel like. And if the people who were supposed to love you were inconsistent, emotionally distant, or unpredictable, your nervous system didn't interpret that as neglect. It interpreted that as normal. It learned that love comes with conditions. That affection is something you have to earn. That closeness is something you have to chase. And so your brain started looking for that same dynamic everywhere. Not because you're broken, not because you're damaged, but because that's what felt familiar. That's what your nervous system recognized as home. And this is where it gets complicated, because when you meet someone who is calm, consistent, and emotionally available, your brain doesn't light up. There's no chase, no mystery, no anxiety to keep you hooked. And so it feels flat, it feels boring, it feels like nothing. But when you meet someone who's hot and cold, someone who disappears and reappears, someone who makes you wonder if they even care, your brain recognizes that. It knows that pattern, and it mistakes that recognition for chemistry, for connection, for love, because the pain is familiar, and familiar feels safe even when it's destroying you. This is why you keep ending up with the same type of person, not because you're choosing badly, but because your nervous system is scanning for a specific emotional frequency. It's looking for the feeling of almost being loved, the feeling of working for affection, the feeling of being close to something you can't quite hold. And when you find that feeling, your brain floods with dopamine. You feel alive. You feel focused. You feel like this must be it. This must be the one. Because it hurts in a way that feels important. It hurts in a way that feels like it means something. But it doesn't mean something. It just means your brain has confused intensity with intimacy. It's confused longing with love. And now you're stuck in a cycle that feels impossible to break. Let me describe what this looks like in real life. You meet someone, and at first, everything feels electric. They text you constantly, they're interested, they're present. And then, suddenly, they pull back, they go quiet, they become distant. And instead of losing interest, you become more interested. You start checking your phone every few minutes. You replay conversations in your head. You wonder what you did wrong. You wonder what you could do differently. You start performing. You start trying to be funnier, more interesting, more agreeable, more everything. Because you think if you can just be the right version of yourself, they'll come back. They'll stay. They'll finally see you, but they don't. They give you just enough to keep you hoping, and then they pull away again. And the cycle repeats. And with every cycle, you become more attached. Not to them, but to the hope that this time will be different. That this time, the pain will turn into love. But it won't, Because the pain is the point. The uncertainty is the point. Your brain isn't attached to them. It's attached to the feeling of chasing something you can't quite catch. And this is what keeps you stuck, because you're not actually trying to win their love. You're trying to resolve the feeling of not being enough that you've carried since childhood. You're trying to prove that if you just try hard enough, if you just love hard enough, if you just give enough, someone will finally choose you. Someone will finally stay. And that will mean you're worthy. That will mean you're lovable. That will mean the pain was worth it, but it won't. Because the dynamic itself is the problem. The person isn't withholding love because you're not enough. They're withholding it because that's who they are. And your brain is drawn to that withholding because that's what it learned to associate with love. So what does real love actually feel like? This is the part that might be hard to hear. Real love doesn't feel like a drug. It doesn't give you that high. It doesn't make your heart race or keep you up at night wondering if they care. Real love feels calm. It feels steady. It feels like you can finally breathe. There's no guessing, no analyzing, no performing. You don't have to decode their texts or wonder what they meant by a certain word. You don't have to worry that if you say the wrong thing, they'll disappear. Because they won't. They're there, consistently, without conditions, without games. They show up. They communicate. They make you feel safe. And if your nervous system was shaped by chaos, that safety feels wrong. It feels empty. It feels like something's missing. Because what's missing is the pain. What's missing is the anxiety. What's missing is the drama that your brain learned to call love. And this is the hardest part of healing. Because healing doesn't mean finding the right person. It means learning to recognize the right person when they show up. It means sitting with the discomfort of being treated well. It means not running when things feel too easy or too stable. It means unlearning the idea that love is supposed to hurt, that passion is supposed to feel like panic. That connection is supposed to feel like you're constantly on the edge of losing something. Because it's not. That's not love. That's trauma. That's your nervous system trying to resolve something that happened a long time ago. Something that wasn't your fault. Something you've been carrying without even realizing it. And I want you to understand something. This isn't about blaming yourself. This isn't about feeling ashamed for the people you've chosen or the relationships you've stayed in. You weren't weak. You weren't foolish. You were conditioned. Your brain was doing exactly what it was trained to do. It was seeking out what felt familiar, even if that familiarity was painful. And now that you know this, now that you can see the pattern, you have a choice. Not to fix it overnight, not to force yourself to change, but to simply notice, to observe, to ask yourself, when you feel that pull towards someone, is this love? Or is this just the ache of something unresolved inside me? Because here's the truth. You are not broken. You are not unlovable. You are not too much or too difficult or too damaged. You are just someone whose brain learned the wrong lesson about love. And that lesson can be unlearned. Not quickly, not easily, but it can be unlearned. And it starts with seeing it, with naming it, with understanding that the pain you've been calling love was never love at all. It was just pain. And you deserved better. You still deserve better. And one day, when you finally feel that calm, steady, safe kind of love, you won't mistake it for nothing. You'll recognize it for what it is, the thing you've been searching for all along. Claude is AI and can make mistakes. Please double check responses.